What's up? Welcome back. My name is Jeremy Googe. For anyone who's never been here, if that's you, welcome. This is a place where I talk about stuff I like and make things that I would like to see, and don't apologize for any of it. And if that sounds like something you're into, we could be the best of friends, probably.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yup!
Do you want to go do karate in the garage?
Yup!
Today we're making a video specifically about the FujiFilm camera system and the XF mount lenses that I use. Before I get into that, I just want to say I've always been an advocate, or a big fan of lenses then camera body. You could buy a decent camera body, but if you're adding the best lenses that you can afford to that, I often feel like that's when the best work's happening, right? The best camera in the world is awesome, but if you're throwing terrible glass on it with noisy autofocus, it's just not the same experience. So you can upgrade your camera more often, buy your lenses once. Even today, as making this March of 2024, Canon obviously have stopped making their EF lenses a long time ago. That doesn't mean that they're bad lenses. They're fantastic. Even this lens here is a Canon EF mount lens that I have adapted to my Fuji XH2S, which is still my favorite camera probably ever. It's crazy. It's hard to explain. On to that, so we're talking about 4 lenses today. I'm not gonna get into this long spiel about any of them. I may or may not throw some photos or some video up to go along with them. I don't want this to be one of those videos that just drags on and on and on. I do love long form content, but when I'm telling a story, the video that I shot a while back, I'll try to drop that dude up here. Homesick is a video that I made with this setup: 1 lens, 1 camera body, a tripod, a rainy day in my old hometown that I grew up in, just making some stuff that meant some stuff to me. It's very personal, but if that sounds like something you're into, please go check that out. Okay, first things first, I don't own this lens. This lens is on loan to me from my very, very good friend. I mean, we just call him brother at this point, Wes. He was kind enough to lend me his lens, and on that I've got a Nisi. It's really hard to see how you spell that. N-I-S-I. ND filter on there that actually came with a purchase of a lens, maybe, or maybe a camera body that someone just included, that has been fantastic. I absolutely love this variable ND filter. But like I say, this is not my lens. It's the Sigma 18 to 35 1.8 adapted to my Fuji camera with the Fringer 2 adapter, and by far gets the most time on my camera. It's the only lens I shoot for video stuff, unless I am behind the camera and can control it a little differently, and I might throw on something with a little more compression just for that out of focus blur cinematic feel to things if you want. But 99% of the time, if I'm shooting video, I'm reaching for this lens to 18 to 35. I want to pause for just a second. Like I said, this is not my lens, so I've borrowed it. I've shot a couple projects. I've shot a commercial video for Wes and one of his companies as well already, but I can't decide if I want to purchase the 18 to 35 or the Tamron 17 to 70. I know it's 2.8 and not 1.8, but I don't know that that's a huge deal with the way that I shoot, and I think that extra focal range or focal length could be helpful. But then I also really, really love the image from the Sigma Art lens. So if you've used both, please let me know. I only say that because I haven't seen somebody comparing the two the way that I would want them compared, and I'm not hearing the information that I'm looking for. So if you have owned or own both of those lenses for the Fuji system, or not, I don't care what system, let me know what you think about them and how they compare. Okay, moving on. Okay, this first one is going to be a lens that I've recently picked up. You may have seen the video that I made on the 18 f2 that I raved about, and I love that lens. I still love that lens, but I got in a position where I was trying to sell my X Pro 3, which I know I was asking in another video if that was going to be my camera for 2024. I still have it, but I'm really thinking I would like to trade that off or sell it to buy an X-T5, or honestly an XH2 instead. I just really want to try something with those megapixels for a change. I love a rangefinder. but if you follow me on any social medias, you know I have a new rangefinder. So like the X Pro 3 is getting no time in the seat, no time in the hand. I use it as a B camera if I'm out shooting and don't want to switch lenses. That's the only time that it sees the light of day right now. But I'd sold my 18 thinking that I was going to sell the X Pro, which is the only reason I had that lens, because I have the 18 on here. But then I got to missing a small compact lens to work with, to shoot with, to photograph with. And if you watch the last video, this is the lens that I've mounted to this camera, the XH2S again, in my Jeep on the windshield for my vlog, my Jeep Chronicles. And it's awesome. I don't think this lens gets enough credit either, honestly. And today that is the 16mm f2.8 from Fuji. It's the weather resistant version, which is important to me. I live in the Southeast. I don't know if anyone knows that, in Tennessee. And we have all the seasons, and we have all the weather. We have all of the rain and snow and wind and dirt, and I like to hike and like to be at the rivers and the waterfalls. So like, weather resistance is pretty important to me. That lens really only gets seat time if I need something super wide to vlog. I do love 24mm focal length. I've learned that about myself actually from the 18. 28 might be my favorite ever. I've always said it's 35, and then I like longer stuff like 85, 135. But I'm really loving that 24, 28mm focal length, so I got to find something in that focal length that I can afford for my other system. But that's somewhere here today. So the first lens, 18 to 35 with Sigma Art, which is phenomenal. Then we talked about the 16mm 2.8, the weather resistance, the small tiny little guy, which is so good for the X Pro XE series, right? And then I'm gonna jump a focal length and then come back to them, because I don't feel like this other lens that I have gets any attention at all. This lens gets all the attention on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. This is the XF 56 1.2. This is the second version, the weather resistance version. And let me tell you, what an upgrade. I had the first version for a while and never loved it. I mean, I love the bokeh at 1.2 and the shallow depth of field, and it was great for portraits, but I would never pick that lens up. I don't know what it was about it. I would always reach for the 90mm, which is 135 equivalent roughly, which I loved. I don't have that lens right now, and I'm missing it, and I've considered picking it up again. But I think if I'm going to get into something longer, more telephoto is what I'd be doing. But I don't have that today. So the 56, if you're a portrait photographer and you're in the Fuji XF system, I don't know how you don't own this lens. I know that there are, cheaper options with the Viltrox line lens, the 75 maybe, but like you're getting longer, and I'm sure they make some stuff that's closer to this focal length. I have zero complaints about this. I can put on eye tracking and it is so good. With the autofocus, especially in the XH2S. Like, it's so much better than it used to be. I loved the XH1, the XH2 system. It's what I wanted. It's exactly what I wanted. All right, and then real quick, last but not least, I don't like 50mm. I should preface. I really don't like it. I'm trying really hard to lean into it and to get better at it, and it's the best lens that I own for my other system is 50mm. So I have something in the equivalent. So this is the Carl Zeiss Tuit, I don't know how you say that, 32mm 1.8 for XF mount. If you have been shooting long enough, you know the name Carl Zeiss. This dude don't play, right? Like, if he makes a lens and he puts his name on it, it's fantastic. This lens is no exception. It's tiny. Let me take this hood off if I can real quick with one hand. I did not mean to take the windscreen off. The rear cap rather. 1 second, I apologize. Well, ASMR here. This thing is tiny as well. I would love to compare it for you to the 16mm. I'm just saying, right? It is obviously bigger around, but it's faster. It's 1.8 aperture as opposed to 2.8 and that 16. If you like a 50mm, and if that is your go-to, if that's how you see the world, I know they make the 33, 14 Fuji does. They're bigger and heavier, more expensive. This lens checks a lot of boxes for me. Size, weight, and that's the reason I'm back to Fuji. I wanted something I could pack multiple lenses and cameras in one bag and go and not just be miserable the entire day, because I still take film cameras with me everywhere I go. I take 3 or 4 cameras all the time. And when I was shooting in the RF lineup in the Canon R5s, like, it just got too heavy, or you know, I'm stopping there. We're talking Fuji today. Canon, get out of here. We're not even talking about you, right? But so those are the lenses I'm currently using. Sigma Art 18 to 35 1.8, XF by FujiFilm 16mm 2.8, the XF 56 1.2 version 2, the new version, the weather resistance, which is it's on my XH2 a lot for photos, so I put it that way. And last but not least, the Zeiss Touit, Touit 32mm 1.8. It's not exactly 50mm, but it's very, very close. If you have any questions about any of these lenses, if you want to see something else from me about these lenses, please ask. I love doing this, and I'd love to show you some more stuff, or I'd love to talk about them more in depth. I do think I'll probably make a separate video on the 32 at some point, but not today. Today I just wanted to show you what I'm using, basically. I'd show you the XH2S, but it's always over there. Still have the X Pro 3 right here. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to price it to give it away, and no one seems interested enough to pay what it's worth, maybe. And I'm pricing that like everyone else is. Like, I have it priced accordingly. But thank you so much for being here. You know what else we need to talk about very soon? This wireless Comica mic. This boom mic that I use all the time. I like using it this way. I'm fidgety, so it gives me something to do with my hands. But anyhow, if you shoot Fujifilm, let me know what lenses you love. Do you use any of these? Do you have recommendations for me? I've tried a lot of them, and so far, this might be my favorite setup yet, as far as a complete set. So, let me know what you shoot with, what body, what lenses. Let's talk about it. I love those conversations. I reply to every single comment. See you there. What's up? I swear to the good Lord, if that keeps happening, I'm going to lose my shit. What are you focusing on over here? Ain't shit over here. It's a black wall.